As we all know, Joker is set to be released in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate literally any day now. But just like Cloud's inclusion in Smash 4, could this move mean a better relationship between Atlus and Nintendo going forward? What games could we see from this collaboration? Let's talk about it. Persona 5 was an absolutely incredible RPG from start to finish. The characters are likable. The gameplay, although admittedly turn-based like most in this genre, still managed to engage players and keep things challenging enough to keep you invested for the 80 to 90 hour grind that you will be partaking in. And trust me, it's all enjoyable. And while Persona 5 is the game that Atlus is receiving all the praise for now, even winning RPG of the Year back in 2017, beating out the likes of Final Fantasy 15 and Nier Automata, the Persona series has been putting out solid games for years now. Persona 4 Golden was the entry that started off the fandom for me. I remember back when I first got my PS Vita, that was the first game I made sure I purchased and really sat down with, and instantly fell in love, guys. For a lot of the same reasons I love Persona 5 and hold that in such a high regard. But after this, I just jumped into the rabbit hole and delved into the series from top to bottom. And I'll just start by saying that Persona 3 is by far the darkest this series has to offer. Though, for this one, I had to dust off the PS3 for, because for whatever reason, the Vita version sucked. Hey, why are you guys wincing up whenever I say Vita? I know, it's shocking. Look, don't laugh. Listen, the Vita was the JRPG console, okay? It was, you might not like it, but it was the JRPG portable before the Switch. Now we can just put everything on there. Oh yeah, don't judge me, by the way. I went and got a root beer while you guys are watching gameplay clips. I'll see you later. I'll see you later. Go back to the clips, jeez. I'm sure at this point you at least see some sort of pattern. That's right, all the mainline titles have been Sony titles. Well, there's also the dancing games, but I'm not going to touch on those because for one, I don't have experience with them, and two, they don't hold any real importance to this video, but I just wanted to let you know that they do exist if you're interested for whatever reason. Back in 2014, following the success of Persona 4 Golden, Persona Q Shadows of the Labyrinth was released for the 3DS. Persona Q was a cross between a few different things. For one, it placed Persona 3 and 4 characters together in one world, and this is significant to mention because each entry in Persona is an entirely different place, story, and has different characters. It'd be like crossing Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy X. Persona Q also blended in another one of Atlus's titles, Etrian Odyssey, a first-person dungeon-crawling JRPG series that does get a lot of love on Nintendo hardware. 3DS primarily. Side note, Persona Q2 is set to be released this June, so same concept, just Persona 3, 4, and 5 characters all meshed together in one. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. But here's the long and short of it. Persona Q is a good game. But with that being said, there are no Persona 3, 4, and definitely no 5. So this opens the floor for discussion. What would Joker's inclusion in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate mean for Persona and Nintendo going forward? Surely this won't be just an opener to more Persona Q games for the Switch. There's too much power here. There's too much we can do with the Switch, and we could have a full-fledged Persona game come to the Nintendo Switch. Ideally, we'd get Persona 5 for Nintendo Switch at some point in the future, accompanied by the other games in the Persona series. I'm talking a Final Fantasy style direct where Atlus and Nintendo just let loose in the floodgates and go, surprise, surprise, look at all the Persona games that are headed your way to your Switch. That would be absolutely awesome. But even if that isn't the case, what about Persona 6? Yes, I know, I realize I'm talking distant future here, but maybe not. With as much of a success as Persona 5 was, and with the market has left on the series forever, maybe this will prompt Atlus to not drag their feet on the next entry. But at the same time, I understand wanting to take their time as well. But I do see the Switch being around for a long time to see this entry for sure. But okay, what if I'm wrong? What if Persona is just up in the air in terms of Nintendo? What if we just don't know if Nintendo will see Persona 4, 5, or let alone 6, or any other games in the series? One thing we know for sure, however, Nintendo will be seeing Shin Megami Tensei. And while Nintendo hasn't seen a lot of Persona games coming out of this series, we have seen Devil Survivor, Shin Megami Tensei 4, and we are going to see Shin Megami Tensei 5 for the Nintendo Switch. Follow me here. You see, Shin Megami Tensei is the umbrella that holds games like Persona, Devil Survivor 1 and 2, Devil Children, and Majin Tensei, just to name a few. The main Megami Tensei series shares little to nothing with its other sub-series, and while Persona is undoubtedly the most popular sub-series of the Shin Megami Tensei series, Atlus and Nintendo have done work bringing Shin Megami Tensei to the 3DS. So Shin Megami Tensei V for the Switch just makes sense here. It's a logical next step. With that being said, however, Shin Megami Tensei clearly doesn't have the kind of pull that Persona does, or will have, including Joker and Smash. At this point, I just feel like it makes sense to capitalize off his newfound popularity from Persona being such a great game, and then Smash Bros. Being like, I mean, come on, we all know it at this point. At this point, unless you're a diehard for the series though, you completely forgot about this game coming out completely. And that's not a reflection at all of the quality of the title. Honestly, Shin Megami Tensei games are good. I mean, ideally we get a better battle system out of 5 as opposed to what was given to us on 4 for the 3DS, but that just comes down to my personal taste. I don't like first-person RPG turnstile type games, like the Earthbounds of the world. Yeah, that's never really been my thing. But outside of that, these games are good. But that's beside the point here. Persona is a title that we should see on the Nintendo Switch. Not only is Persona's gameplay more refined than Shin Megami Tensei overall, Shin Megami Tensei, at least what I can remember from 4, gameplay style is very antiquated. I feel like Persona is a lot more modern, and for that it's received very well. Another thing that's really important to mention here is name recognition as well. Persona, it strikes a chord as soon as you hear it. You know, Persona 5. What do you think of when you hear Persona? Persona 5, Persona, Joker, Smash, it just works. It all works together. And the result of this would be a better received product if Persona was put in any form on the Nintendo Switch. It didn't even have to be Persona 5, but just that Persona recognition by name would just hold a lot more weight than Shin Megami Tensei, because had I not told you, did you guys know that Persona was a sub-series of Shin Megami Tensei? Let me know that in the comments below. I'm very curious as to how many of you knew that or how many of you didn't. Given how successful Persona 5 is and how successful Persona as a franchise has become, it has completely eclipsed the rest of the Shin Megami Tensei line, including Shin Megami Tensei itself. I think at this point we can all confidently say that Atlus should not just rest on what they've always done a majority of the time when it comes to Nintendo. Yes, like I said, Persona Q and Q2 are the outliers in Persona being a part of Nintendo, but we could see a lot more in terms of games in the future, Persona 6 like I said, and even more IPs in general, because Shin Megami Tensei will do okay, but even still, the games as of to date have fallen under the radar. An ambitious high mark for Atlus came in the form of Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE for the Nintendo Wii U. This was a marriage between Shin Megami Tensei and Intelligent Systems' Fire Emblem series. The gameplay mixed elements of the Shin Megami Tensei series as well as Fire Emblem and showed just what was possible in some way in regard to the closest thing Nintendo has ever gotten to a main Persona title or something like it in that ilk. But even with this being the case, this game even lacked the charm, personality, character, life, and just overall enjoyment that Persona is known for. I remember just feeling like Persona 4 is a lot better than this, and Persona 5 ended up being much better than Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE itself, of course. But with that being said, I prefer Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE over the regular Shin Megami Tensei series, and maybe that's just me. I'd like to know what you guys think about that as well. But I want Atlus, and I'm pleading for them to take this step and take this opportunity when all eyes are on what you guys can do. We've seen Persona 5 was a spectacular game. I would love to see Atlus take this and really leverage this to make something fantastic for the Switch. I'm not saying this Shin Megami Tensei 5 would be bad. In fact, I'm looking forward to it. But in comparison to what we've seen from Atlus before, I don't feel like it's their best foot being put forward here. Honestly, that's just how I feel about it. And if we're going to include Joker and Smash and we see this happening, you definitely want your best foot to be put forward, because Shin Megami Tensei is not representative of what Persona is as a game, as a series, and the gameplay is nothing like it, I'm telling you. Unless they do a complete remodel of Shin Megami Tensei from top to bottom and they just make it nothing like what it was on the 3DS, which I wouldn't be opposed to that. But unless that's the case, if they're just gonna go for what's familiar, then I'm afraid that this will just perform like what's familiar with Shin Megami Tensei, and that's just not good. So there you have it, guys. That's your show for today. What do you guys think about the video? Did you like it? Let me know that by clicking the like button right there. Be sure to share this video with a friend who likes Persona, or maybe they want to get into Persona. They see Joker coming to Smash, they're excited, and they're like, huh, can I get more content from Atlus or Persona on the Switch? That's what the discussion is, guys. At the end of the day, I just want to see more coming from Atlus for the Switch, but I want them to put their best foot forward. And I'm not exactly sure Shin Megami Tensei is that. Once again, guys, further discussion down in the comments below. I want to know what you guys think about this, honestly. Let me know your thoughts on Persona coming to the Nintendo Switch. Would you care about that? Are you fascinated or interested in the game at all? Did you play the game on PS4? It's okay if you have one. I know we make Switch content, but it's fine. Different channel, directly to you, podcast every Saturday, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys again next week.